All right, so this week is week number 2 of working with Inventor. Last week we learned how to draw a simple part. I called it my bar of soap with a hole in it, which is really kind of what it resembled. This week we're going to do something a little different. So I went ahead and I'm loading the part file, which is the file we have to start with before we can do anything else. I'm going to create a 2D sketch, just like I did last week. Doesn't really matter the plane. I take my rectangle tool, and I'm going to draw a rectangle, square, that is 0.75, tab key, 0.75, enter. Now all I have is a square. Finish the sketch. Whoops. I want to extrude that sketch. And I want to change this not to 1 inch, but 0.75. So what I have is a cube. I'm going to go through the process. I'm going to save the cube. Call it cube 1. And just allow that to save. And there's my cube saved. So I'm done with this file for now. I'm going to close that. I'm going to come back out here and I'm going to do an assembly drawing. Now assembly drawing is what allows us to put different parts together. So very rarely is any product just one part. Usually things are made up of more than one piece. We come out here, I'm going to say place cube 1. There we go. There's our cube. Bam. Now in this case, I want to place the same cube. Now, they could be different parts, but for this purpose, I want to place 4 cubes. Just hit escape to drop my tool. So now what we have to do is we have to put these things together. So they're here, but they're not together. They can pass through one another. It doesn't really matter which one we do this to, but one of the cubes, we come out here, we got to click right click. We're going to right click on that cube and we're going to check the box grounded. So now what that does is this cube no longer moves. So all the other cubes have to move to it. And in this case, it doesn't really matter which one we grounded because they're all the same, but in later assemblies it will matter. Okay, after we do that, we're ready to constrain these two. So we can constrain a couple of different ways. We can mate them at an angle. If we have circles, we can have tangent, which is basically the outside of a circle touches a flat surface. We can insert, or we can symmetry. For the purpose of this assignment, we're only going to work with the mate tool, so mate. So we have to constrain this. We're going to mate this surface, and we're going to come up here, we're going to click or drag this around so we can see. We're going to mate that surface with that surface. It makes a quick little sound. We'll click OK. Hit our home button so we can come back in our outer space, and all we have is those two surfaces are now next to one another, but they can still move. So we have to constrain this further. So what we need to do next is we need to constrain the edges together. So we can zoom in, constrain the edge, constrain the edge. Now what we have is we can still see, we can still move because those other two edges are not constrained. What I want to do is cancel that out there so we don't have any kind of things going. Now I need to constrain this edge with that edge. There's my cool little sound again. This is what I got. So we still need to continue constraining. We want to do constrain this edge to this edge. Apply that constraint. Once we apply that edge. And this is the tricky part, zooming in to see which edges you are constraining to. There we go. We'll apply that constraint. And finally, we need to apply this one to this one. Apply. And now the final step is we constrain this edge. So I want to constrain this edge to this edge. Apply. And this is what I want to export. So I'm just going to come up here. I'm going to say export PDF. So L assembly is going to be the name of the file for the week. And that's what we have. We have a fully constrained letter L.